Wow! Welcome back to the Random Ones Go Faster. Old Big Mek here, and I'm tuned in to the voices of Gork and Bork because we know what the detachments are going to be. Ah! That's right, Old Big Mek here, and in this episode we are doing a deep dive into what all of the detachments are going to be for Grotmas 2024 that Warhammer announced during the World Championships. In order to do that, we got to do some cunning. Let's get into it. For those of you unaware, at the World Championships of Warhammer the other day, where they dropped that absolute unit of a preview show, this was part of their mentions, the Grotmas calendar. So that's a new Warhammer 40,000 detachment every day in December. Now, during the live stream, they said every day in December, which is 31 days. They also said 30 days. What the actual article says is the 1st through the 24th of December. So we're only getting 24 detachments. And, well, that's going to be a little bit of an issue. Because when you go on Warhammer40,000.com and click on the armies, where it goes through the factions here, there are actually 27 of them, which means we're probably going to get short at 3, but that's not even the whole story. You see, when I went through there, there's actually 24 factions listed on the website. It matches up perfectly, except for one minor little niggle, and that's on the website. Chaos Demons is all one faction. And Warhammer has already unequivocally stated that all 4 different Chaos Gods are getting their own demon detachment. So we can presume that they mean that's 4 different detachments. One for the Khorne demons, one for the Slaanesh, one for the Nurgle, one for the Tiznish. In which case you are shortchanging 3 other armies from getting detachments. So let's dive into this and see what we've got. Alright, first of all, presuming the 4 demons, like I said, they were very clear in that announcement that all 4 were getting their own detachments. There's 4 out of the 24 already. That only leaves us 20 slots left, except it's really only 19 slots left because they also have said that Deathwatch is getting their own release. Right? We're already starting to run it back. Okay, let's go through. Let's start with Xenos because they're a little easier. There's Tau, Orcs, Necrons, Votann, Genestealer Cult, Tyranids. Those are all going to get 1, right? We could probably rule out Orcs getting 2, which stinks. We could probably rule out Tau getting a Kroot detachment. The same thing with, like, Genestealer Cult or Tyranids or Votann, any kind of, like, little sub-faction. It's not going to happen. So there's just going to be 1 each for them. So keep in count, we've got our original 5, the 4 demons and Deathwatch, Tau, Orcs, Necrons, Votann, Genestealer Cult, Tyranids. All right, we are up to 11 out of our 24. We've only got 13 left. Now, there is obviously one faction I have not mentioned yet for the Xenos, and I think that's where they are going to reduce by 1, and that is, of course, Eldar, or as they're called now, Eldari. Eldar have been split into Eldar and Dark Eldar since 3rd edition. Nowadays called Eldari and Drukhari. There's also Ynnari, which is like this other little sub-faction, plus you've got Harlequins, which are over there all by themselves. So really, if you wanted to expand this out into 30 days with the detachments, each one of those could have gotten 1. I don't think we're seeing any of those. We all know that Games Workshop doesn't give the Xenos the same amount of love as the Imperium and Chaos. Highly, highly likely that all of the Eldari are going to get smooshed together into 1 singular detachment. So there we go. All right, that puts us at 12. That is halfway done already, and we haven't even gotten to Imperium yet, really. So moving forward, you've got, let's go to the Imperium that's not Space Marines, okay? Because again, I think this will be easy. Sisters, Custodes, Mechanicus, Guard. Each one of those is going to get 1. They are all standalone factions. They all have their own codex or index, and there's not going to be any sub-factions. So unfortunately, we're not going to see like a Krieg-specific one or even Catachan for the Imperial Guard, Astra Militarum. You're not going to see like a cool Dark Mechanicus or something like that. It's just going to be a regular Mechanicus. Same thing with like Custodes and Sisters. You're not going to get any kind of crazy sub-faction. It's just going to be a standard detachment. So there's 4 more we can knock off our list. Now that leaves us with 10 left and a lot of armies left to cover. And well, here's where it's going to get interesting. When you look at the website under Chaos, Chaos Space Marines is their own entry, and then Death Guard, Thousand Sons, and World Eaters are all their own entries, obviously because they're all their own standalone armies. We also know that Emperor's Children is coming. Because Emperor's Children isn't coming till later next year, we're probably not going to get a detachment for them right now. Which also leads me to believe that this might be where they cut the other 3 detachments out, is by doing a Chaos Space Marine detachment. They can drop Death Guard, Thousand Sons, and World Eaters from having their own. That saves some space. But let's finish counting out what we've got with the biggest, which is, of course, regular Space Marines. Now, on the website, they are broken down as such. Space Marines, Black Templars, Blood Angels, Dark Angels, Death Watch, which was interesting, Grey Knights, also interesting, and Space Wolves. All right, that is 7 different detachments, plus we're talking about having 3 Chaos, but we've got 4 Chaos spots. So what in there is going to drop out? Plus, Agents of the Imperium just got a codex. They're their whole own faction. How does that work into it? Here's where I'm going to fine-tune in the voices of Glork and Mork and make my crazy prediction. And that's going to be that we're not going to get a detachment for Grey Knights. Okay? Also, Agents of the Imperium, that detachment is not going to happen. Those are basically all going to fall under the umbrella of Agents of the Imperium. And that's where the Death Watch faction detachment that we already know is coming is going to go. That then leaves you enough room for those remaining 10 detachments to be the Space Marines and all the Chaos Space Marines. Now, those of you that are not orcs and therefore are better at math are already going, that still leaves 11, old Big Mek. You got to cut 1 more out if we're going to get everything in 24 detachments. And you are right. And that's why, again, under that same umbrella of Agents of the Imperium, I don't think we're getting a Custodes detachment either. Now, if you really think about this, like objectively think about this, okay? Custodes, Death Watch, and Grey Knights are all sub-factions of sub-faction, right? They are all in the Imperium, in their own thing, as their own army, but like their power armor Space Marine guys, they are like super duper duper drilled down. They are also relatively small armies. There's only so much you can do when you've only got, what, 20 data sheets, if that? So how many detachments do you really need? How many different special rules do you really need to actually make it work? Now, I know Custodes didn't get a lot of detachments in their book, but again, it is like one of the smallest armies when it comes to the actual count of units available. So let's cross Custodes out too and put them under the banner of Agents of the Imperium. Now, ta-da! We have got 24 different factions, 24 different detachments.
But old Big Mek, what about Imperial Knights and Chaos Knights?
What about them? Shoot! That's my reenactment of what is going on at Games Workshop right now. Because again, I watched the live stream and I very clearly remember hearing 30 on the detachments, which I thought was a little weird because I kept saying all month, but then they said 30. But then I was like, maybe they'll take Christmas off or something like that, right? It kind of makes sense. But then when the article came out and it said 24, you really got to start drilling down. So again, now you've got Imperial Knights and Chaos Knights, which are definitely factions in Warhammer 40,000. They are definitely ways you could play the game, suddenly not getting a detachment either. All right, just to show you I ain't crazy, let's rewatch.
There's more stuff coming in the festive period.
There is. So throughout December, on the Warhammer community website, there's going to be a series of downloads available, which are detachments for Warhammer 40,000 as some kind of Grotmas calendar.
Happy Grotmas, everybody. Throughout December, we're releasing 30 different downloads for Warhammer 40,000. All match play legal, all game.
Ha! 30! I was right! That's right. Old Big Mek once again catches Games Workshop tripping up on their own words, just like usual. So, what's the real takeaway from this? Are we getting 24 detachments or are we getting 30? Well, I'm not sure. Part of me thinks that they were supposed to say 24 because that's what the whole Grotmas calendar thing shows. Take Christmas off and then be like, aha, but wait, there's more. And release a couple more on the 26th, 27th, 28th, 29th, and 30th. And 31st. Then it would all wrap up. And then you would have enough, right? Because, I mean, think about what we're missing. If you do 24 detachments of what we just talked about, you are missing Imperial Knights and Chaos Knights, which are two huge armies. You're missing Grey Knights, Custodes, Drukhari, and that one more is like really easy to come up with. You could either do Emperor's Children and make the argument for that. You could say Harlequins. You could easily make the argument for that. You could even say Aegis of the Imperium actually on their own, separate from Deathwatch, Grey Knights, and Custodes could get one on their own. So 30 detachments makes way more sense than 24. So that's my prediction, is that they really are going to do 30. They weren't supposed to spill the beans that it was 30. They came out with this 24 thing. It was supposed to be an extra special surprise, and it didn't happen. There's one other theory, and that would be maybe they're being sneaky and we're getting 24 detachments on top of the 4 Chaos Demons plus Deathwatch. That doesn't add up, though. That's 5 detachments they told us about, plus 24 in the calendar is 29, not 30. So no idea really what's going on. The other alternative is, you know, obviously, clearly, maybe they misspoke. It really is 24. It's always supposed to be 24. And, you know, you get in your head, oh, all month long, and you say 30. Gee, I wonder where they got that idea to do something every day of the month. Anyways, so the only other way I can see this going down is, instead of dropping the Grey Knights, Custodes, you know, etc., is if by the 4 Chaos Demon Codexes, they mean that those demons combine with the Chaos Space Marines, and then Death Guard, Thousand Suns, World Eaters don't get their own. But man, that'd be a tough pull. I think that would make far less sense than like dropping the Grey Knights and Custodes. That's just my prediction based on the number of units available for those codexes. You can't do, like, not do a Death Guard one. You can't not do Thousand Suns. Those are huge factions, way bigger than Leagues of Wotan or Genestealer Cult, you know? So, I don't know, man, but Games Workshop really needs to learn how to count. What are they, orcs? So yeah, who knows what's going on. Luckily, we don't have long to wait. It's already less than a week away before they start pumping these things out, and we get to see what the detachments actually are. Now, they've said that they're going to be pretty cool. In fact, reading directly from the website, every detachment has been crafted with a reason in mind, whether it's popular demand, that'd be like Deathwatch, to support people's collections, also Deathwatch, or to provide new ways to play. They wanted to support army narratives that they felt were not fully represented in the current or upcoming codexes. And then, of course, they're all built for match play, crusade, etc. And they're going to be future-proof, so they're legal even once a codex comes out, which is actually really, really cool. So, yeah, there's a lot to take in here. Are we getting 24? Are we getting 30? What's the controversy there? Who's getting cut? Especially if we're only taking 24. There are way more than 24 legal factions with codexes and indexes in Warhammer 40,000. Something's got to give somewhere. Again, old Big Mek's been talking to Gork and Mark. I think Grey Knights, Custodes, Drukhari are not getting detachments. Neither are your Imperial Knights or Chaos Knights. That's my prediction. If we do end up with 30, if they pull the aha surprise or maybe the oops we can't count, I think those 5 will get their detachments as well. And then your 30th one will either be Agents of the Imperium as a standalone. Maybe they'll drop the Emperor's Children Index, or we'll see Ynnari/Harlequins get one. But that one's really, really low probability, because again, we know they don't really love the Xenos guys, which I don't get. We're the most lovable of the bunch. All right, all this counting has made my head hurt because I'm an orc. So that's going to do it for this video. We'll catch you in the next one. And until then, Wagga!